Who is this young lady?
That's a character. That's an ongoing character. Her name is Mei Ling. She has the ability to control. Has the ability to control something called the Jade Sword. Jade Sword's a really powerful weapon. She was supposed to be the fourth member of the group that Cephas was putting together. When I got depressed with it and stopped with that particular one, that was where she was at, like a girl's. She was at a prep school. She was the daughter of a very powerful political leader, and she just got finished beating up two of the prep boys that was trying to pick a fight with her.
Well, I'd have been trying to put the moves on her, not trying to fight with her. Now there's another drawing of her in this stack, right?
Yes, there's another one where she's got the Jade Sword.
All right, well, I'll pause the camera and we'll hunt that one down so it's in sequence.
Okay.
All right, tell us about this picture.
This is the picture of Mei Ling with the Jade Sword. The Jade Sword gave the the person that was holding it, or the person that was it was an ancestor thing. You had to be part of a lineage to be able to wield the sword and in its power. But it gave her the ability to create what they called the Jade Armor. And that was part of it, and that was just where somebody was in the she was being attacked in her own bedroom.
That was look to me like she was running away.
No, she's not. She was trained from a very early age how to fight, because her dad knew that she was the one that was going to be wielding the sword next.
Like the tattoo. And are there any more storyline that you want to talk to about her, or is there any other drawings? I don't remember
seeing. If I've got any other drawings of her, I don't think they're in that folder.
Okay. All right, we'll pause.
I might be wrong, but
we'll stop and go to the next series.
I don't know that there is another series, Matt. Well, there's the next two.
Well, we just keep it going then, I guess. Yeah, and
the other one was probably about the longest series. That was the Doc Holliday series. The guy that you see with the cross on his back, he was an exorcist. One of the things that later on that I did that the two Mei Lings, when I stopped the other series, I had an idea for a story where there was kind of like an underground of a cult, and one of the girls, she got possessed. She got Mei Ling, and that one's Mei Ling got kidnapped by. That was a very complicated story. There was two factions. There was two witches that was part of an underground occult thing. One of them was Mother Night, and the other one was Mother Wolf. Mother Wolf was over the group of werewolves, where Mother Night was over a group of vampires. And Mei Ling got pulled into kind of a desert wave where the different followers would bring them food.
Mm-hmm.
And she got bit by a vampire, and Doc Holliday was one of those guys that in those two cases that you see him carrying, he had all kinds of different weapons, and he had all kinds of different cures and religious artifacts that he used to basically fight against the different ones. And because that she had been bitten, but she hadn't drank blood yet, there was things that he could do to her to keep her from completely turning. I never did do that. I had a whole outline that I did behind that one. It was supposed to be a book that I was working on. I never did finish. I mean, I got the outline, wrote back the whole outline, but I never did go back and fill in. It was just a big, long story idea. I don't even know where that one's at anymore, to be honest with you.
Shameful behavior. All right.
The guy that you see that he's talking to was a priest that he got called in by their parents, and then when he saw.
So who's busybody in the window? His wife, a parishioner, or a ghost?
That was the girl's mother. She didn't like. She didn't like. The father was the father of the girl. Mei Ling was the one that brought in the priest. But she didn't like white dudes.
Yeah.
And she didn't like. I don't. He wasn't exactly Catholic, but she didn't believe what was happening to her daughter. So she was against him coming.
She sure looked like she got a damn scowl on her face.
Yeah.
All right, and this is Saint Valentine.
Yep, John Valentine. He was along the same vein as what Doc Holliday was. He fought against demons. In that particular one, the government that had taken over was basically kind of like an occult thing. They were all they employed demons and different things to as like a government. He had the ability to teleport. That's what you see him doing. He's coming. He carried the two Berettas, and then the rosary with the cross that you see on it was a weapon that he used as well. That was the main weapon that he used when he was fighting against demons. He never wore a shirt. He was barefooted, and he never wore a shirt.
And you'll see that in that next drawing. You can see that very well.
The demons had the ability to look human, and only he had he was one of the few that knew what they were, and they were fighting down in a subway.
Man, that's some freaking awesome. Way it looks.
But that was what they fought. That was what that rosary. He had it would stretch. It was like he could make it grow out because it was teleportation. He would always hold so much of it, but then there was a way that he had the ability to add to it to make it longer. He used it kind of like the way you would use a rope dart or a chain whip. But he never wore shoes, and he never wore a shirt. All he did was wear that white suit. That was just a character. I never did come up with a good reason why.
Hey, don't matter.
Initially, and I didn't put it into the first one, but initially he was supposed to have all the entire Bible tattooed on him, but I never could get all that detail.
Yeah.
That was tedious trying to put all that detail into it.
Now tell us about this one here.
There was a guy that I worked with that gave me a picture, and he wanted me to sit down and do a tattoo. He was looking to get a back tattoo, and I drew just the dragon, and he made a copy of it to take to his tattoo artist to give him an idea of what he wanted. And when I took the original and then added the background, and colored it in.
Well, I love that wall. Just a simple detail, but it's beautiful to me. All right, who's the gun? That's
Jericho.
Jericho.
He was. I can't think of what the name of that game. That was off of a video game. He was a bounty hunter. He was a priest. But he wore armor. I liked the design, so I drew it.
Yeah. I love the freaking hat. All right.
Now, that's one of my personal favorites. That's Tank. And what's really funny is the guys that you see in the background, not the Yakuza guys, but the guys in the far background were all characters that I had growing up.
I got it zoomed in on them. From the top left, the guy with the long hair and hat.
That's Digger.
And the girl in the pink.
That was just a background character.
Okay, and dude in the cowboy hat?
That wasn't a cowboy hat. That was a biker hat.
Okay.
Oh, no. The guy in the...
Right here.
That was actually kind of a Wolverine deal. I put Wolverine in there. I thought that was funny. But the other guy in the background that you see was one of the Scar characters.
All right.
And then the guy that you see holding the pool stick was Cliffhanger.
Yeah. That was one of your longest running characters, Cliffhanger.
Yep. Cliffhanger was one of the longest running characters.
And that had to be, what, 86, 87?
Yep.
When that character was in.
Yep. But that's, that right there was a character that I had that was called Tank. He's one of my favorite characters. That was another one that I had a complete outline for a story written out with him that never did I never did come back and finish. The guys in the background that he was fighting was Yakuza.
That's the Japanese mob, basically?
Yep.
Yeah.
The guys that you see in the suits were the upper ranking ones, and then the other two guys that you see on the side were foot soldiers.
Yeah, I like that one there.
Yep.
All right, whose head is this? And well, there's
He
another
was surrounded.
one. Okay, well, there you go. I love that. That's a great detail to add. All right, this one here.
That was me just playing around.
Yeah, it don't matter. It's still nice.
That was a tribute to the Universal monsters.
Yeah.
And they used to be I can't remember what the name of that magazine was, but there used to be the guy that did all of the what was his name? Rat Fink.
Ah, dang, if I know, man.
But anyway, that was there used to be they had all of the monsters that drove the hot rods and everything,
Yeah.
and that was one of my favorite things when I was younger. So I put Frankie on a chopper, and I put the Wolfman in the old rat rod, and put the mummy in the background with Frankie's girlfriend, the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to make it funny, I put Frankie's used body parts in the back. 'Cause I thought that was kind of a pun on Frankenstein.
Good smear.
Yep.
Instead of Goodyear, good smear on the tire. I love it. That's a nice little detail. And so
That was just me playing around. That guy was, I don't know. The idea behind that one, I saw this one guy who carried kind of a spear thing, and that was just one of those things where I saw it and I had to draw it. His arms was way too long on that one, but other than that,
quarter inch off of that, and it would have been perfect.
yep.
But hey, not everybody's shaped perfectly proportioned, you know. You look
That
at
was just me joking around on
Yeah.
that one. There again, you see Mei Ling in that one. She's a running character. I haven't found a good place for her yet.
Maybe you will, sir. Maybe you will.
That was again kind of a play off of what I did, the element. I have this idea for four of them, the four elements that come together as the fifth. But that was just me playing around.
All right.
Now this one right here is a video game character. I can't think of what the name of that video game is, but it's got the Riders of the Apocalypse, and that was the Death character. The other one was War. He kind of looked like Mysterio, but I was going through a video game magazine, and I come across that, and I want to say that was pretty close to what was in the magazine. So I saw it and I loved it, and I just had to draw it. So I drew him, and then I just kind of made up the background.
I love it. I love it. It's great details.
That was more of an ink and color pencil.
Yeah.
I was still experimenting.
Is that in War?
No, that's still the same character. He's just
Okay.
got a hammer instead of the sickles.
Okay.
That was also out of
And you get surrounded by Nazis.
yeah.
Dead Nazis.
At the time, I was reading Dresden,
Yeah.
and there's a Dresden book where Evil Bob, Dresden had like a skull that had a familiar in it that kept up with all the spells and different things like that. and part of his evilness got out, and there was one where Evil Bob was running around in a Nazi uniform. And I wanted to draw that, and that's what I put him in there, him fighting against. That was just the idea behind that.
I like him the best.
That was the one character that I drew off of from my imagination what Evil Bob would look like.
Came out real nice. Now let's look at some ladies, shall we?
That was a medley. And I can't explain it. There's nothing more than that. The one in the top left corner was off of a video game called. Her name was Elizabeth, but it wasn't. It wasn't the Elizabeth off of... No, Catherine. Her name was Catherine. There was a game where when he went to sleep, he was trying to climb up, but it was like while he was awake. It was I can't even remember what the name of that video game is now. But that was my favorite one of the bunch. The one to the next one was just something I came up with. I was just drawing around. That was purely imagination right there. I was kind of an apocalyptic character with a Gatling gun. The one at the bottom there, the bottom left was Elizabeth. That was off of the, I can't even think of it. It's the one that's got Big Daddies. Bioshock was the name. That was off the second video game, Bioshock 2. The next one was one I got off of, I screwed her face way up. But that was off of one of those Grand Theft Auto games. That was the one that was set in the 80s. I can't remember what the name of that one was. And then the last one was that was another one that I pulled out of that video game. I was getting a lot of ideas and stuff out of video game magazines, and that was the one that had the pig in it. I can't remember what the name of that video game was, but that was where I got the character, and then I just filled in the background how I wanted to.
Well, and I can tell you I like her butt.
Of course.
It ain't my fault. This is where I grew up at.
Most people don't know it, but when I started drawing hot rods.
Yeah.
That's originally what got me started drawing, was drawing hot rods. And that was out of a Lowrider magazine. That's an old C10.
That's what I started off in, except my own stepside. And it didn't have a blower. It had an inline six-cylinder with a little tiny carburetor.
That was one I did for a guy who wanted a tattoo. He liked the tiger thing, and he wanted me to draw him one out, so I drew him one out, and he made a copy of it, and I kept the original and colored it in.
I ain't never tried an animal. Don't think I ever will. I don't know. Who knows? All right, who's this nut job?
I really didn't have there was I don't remember where, I think that was on Pinterest. I come across something in Pinterest, and I saw it. They had a character that had that mask on, and I liked it. And I sat down and
What was the name on the Batman thing? That guy had the mask and he had the gas and all that. Scarecrow. I love that character. That guy played in a TV series called Peaky Blinders. Freaking awesome. He was a bad butt dude. But
that was one of my.
That reminded me of.
That was one of my attempts that I was trying to. I was using markers. I don't remember where I got the markers from, but I was testing out markers in that particular one, and all of that was done with markers. I drew it out with pencil, and then I came back in with a Sharpie and some other markers that I think I got there. My son had a whole collection of markers that his mom bought him, and I did that whole thing. That was just kind of an experiment.
Came out good. You got to give it that. All right, now that's the end of this side, and that next drawing is one of mine, and we won't worry about it, simply because this ain't my videos or my pictures to be talking about. So that one...
That was one that I was trying to bring Cephas, figure out how I wanted Cephas to look. Originally, Cephas kind of started off wearing an ugly shirt. He didn't have the armor. And the other guy was one. He looks like something from the. Actually, I had a dream about that guy before the second Matrix ever came out. Don't ask me why, but when the Matrix came out and I saw Keanu Reeves wearing the long trench coat and everything, it blew my mind because I had dreamed about that guy long before.
Well, that's more of a Chinese outfit anyway.
Yeah.
Versus a real trench coat. It's more like the guy that was the bodyguard of the key maker guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more how he was dressed versus Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is more of a trench coat. That guy was more of a traditional Chinese outfit. But anywho, I ain't trying to take your thunder there, sir.
No, I ain't worried about it. That was one of those. I saw a picture of Hulk hitting the ground, and I originally, well, that was when I was still trying to. He had the Earth element, and that basically he used it to make himself more dense, and it made him more strong.
Well, I'm looking at a girl through this other next piece of paper, so let's check her out.
That was just me messing around. It's called A Midsummer Night Rape Interrupted.
yeah. Well, you can see his cod's got shot all to pieces, so apparently she didn't appreciate him trying to do that. And he looks like a freaking weirdo. He looks like the weirdo off of the original Dirty Harry. That guy was a weird looking dude.
Mohawk, striped pants. Actually, I got that one from, I drew. See, that was one of the old, that was one I didn't finish with Mei Ling.
Okay. Oh, this in here?
Yep.
The next one?
The next one was one I didn't finish with Mei Ling.
Yeah.
I never did finish it.
Yep.
That was off of The Matrix. Now, that one kick that Trinity does in the front, that was always my favorite scene, and I was trying to recreate it.
Yeah. This must be...
That was Angel when she had her wings.
Yeah.
That was before they cut her wings off.
You just didn't want to finish it.
I just didn't finish it. That was all pen. It was like
I cannot draw with a pen. I just cannot do it.
That was where I was kind of spitballing, and that right there was that was one of the first ones of Tank. No, that wasn't Tank. That was one of the first ones of Valentine. He was a bigger character, but you see all of the writing all the way around him.
Yeah.
Valentine originally was supposed to have the entire Bible tattooed to him in a spiral all the way down.
Lord, that would have been a heap of detail every time that shirt was open.
That was the reason why I kind of backed off of that.
Yeah.
And that was just me messing around. Sometimes you just doodle.
Yeah.
I was working on the angel design with that one.
Yeah. Anything else you want to put on this one?
Nope. That's about it.
All right. Well, you go ahead and wrap it up. And we've enjoyed looking at them. It's been a while, I guarantee you.
I've been promising I was going to put some drawings out there, and I've got newer drawings, but I don't have them with me.
Right.
So that's some of my right there's all of my best stuff. Somewhere I have a manila envelope that's got all of the drawing, my more recent drawings in it.
You know, I've got dozens of them on the back of envelopes where you wrote me letters.
Oh yeah.
In color, and they all were fantastic. And guess what? I got all of them.
We might have to do that series one time. That would be
the
fun.
Envelope art. Yep.
The envelope art.
Yep.
When I would send Matt letters, I always wanted him to know that it was I that sent it to him.
Yep.
So I always drew on the letters because he knew only I had that art style.
Yeah, well, not only that, but if someone were to try to open it, it would be obvious pretty quick that they ruined the picture, and it would be like, yeah, somebody's reading our mail or something.
Yeah, that was me being paranoid.
Yeah, it's all right being paranoid.
Yeah, just because. What was
I can't remember how the guy said it. Yeah, but I remember.
Just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get me.
That's right, and that was on. Was that Enemy of the State? Enemy of what was that one? Will Smith.
Yeah, Enemy of the State was the one. Him and what was the other guy that he played? in The Quick and the Dead. I can't think of what his name is.
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman. He played in a lot of great movies.
Yep. Gene Hackman was always a good bad guy.
Yeah. All right. Say bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.